Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, we're going to prepare our nae. And the first thing I'm going to do is fillet it. And I'm having a little hard time because I'm having to fillet it around the camera. So the tripod is between, with my GoPro, is between my two arms. So it's a very awkward position to cut. So having a little bit of problem here. It wasn't exactly the best tripod placement, but I thought it gave us the best view of the action. So normally I start the cuts, and then on the top of the fish, I just run my knife down to the spine. So I get as much of the meat as possible. Then I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to run my knife, my fillet knife, through the holes that I made all the way to the tail. Now what I'm going to do is clean my knife, because I don't want any of the debris on the meat. And I'm going to lift this little, like a little tab that is created, and run my knife um, along the spine. And I'm getting stuck on the small bones that are on the bottom of the spine toward the stomach of the fish, but because I've already cut the top down. So I'm gonna run my knife lightly along the bones so get as much of the meat, and I'm gonna slice down and remove the fillet. So you notice, even though I did cut and clean the fish, the insides, there is still some debris in the pocket there, and it's kind of gritty because these surgeon fish are eating the algae and vegetation on the rocks. So they pick up some of the rocks and hence the debris. So I'm going to wash it out, and there it is. And I'm going to wash the body out too, because I'm going to cut the other side. And but I'm only going to show you this side because it's going to be the same thing. So there's the fillet, and I'm going to start a little cut, and this is like even harder than I thought, cutting around the camera. So I go down and then flatten my knife against the skin, and I'm just basically going to have a slight rocking motion while I pull the skin back. So the knife is running right along the inside of the skin. So there it is. Comes right off with no meat on it. So I'm going to clean my board, because again, there's some tiny little scales and some of that debris from the stomach cavity. Dry off my fillet, and I'm going to run my knife right along the pin bone, and that's going to be the main fillet. And here, because it's so small, I'm just going to run my knife down and along the rib bones to get that piece off, and the rest I'm basically going to discard. You can try to slice something off, but it's pretty hard. Normally I would make like poke out of that, but here it is. Once the fish is totally cleaned, I have the two fillets and some other meat, and I'm putting on some Hawaiian salt, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours. So I took it out and I cut it up and removed the salt, and now I'm going to coat it with cornstarch. So you can see the foot of my tripod there. So again, I'm trying to do this around the camera, which is not the easiest. I got to find a better way to position the camera. And I'm going to work the cornstarch in. I'm not going to use any other seasoning at this point, because most of the seasoning is going to come from the next part, or actually the finishing part, where I'm going to use the sauce, when I'm going to create a sauce. So I'm coating the pieces and coating the body, because I'm going to fry this up, and need to wash my hands. So now we're going outside to our wok on our grill, and I put the body in, and I'm kind of holding my camera up and trying to work my tongs here. So I'm going to fry up the body because this is going to be kind of like my presentation layer and plate. Plus you can pick the meat off the bones too. But I'm going to fry this up until it's nice and crispy and then continue on. So there's the body, pretty much done. I'm going to take it off, drain out some of the oil, and put on the plate there. And now I'm going to put in all the pieces, the fillet, drop that in the hot oil, stir it up, and get all the pieces. I can't get it. Oops, dropped one. Nobody saw. Put it in the hot oil. The oil will cook it off. So I'm just going to lightly stir it. It's not going to take very long for this guy to cook. So you can see it there. Holding my tripod with one hand, trying to work my tongs with the other. And I'm going to put a napkin down to dry some of the oil off once I take it off, and it's basically done at this point. One last stir, and I'm looking for a light golden brown color here, not really golden brown, just like that. You can see the whiteness of the meat coming through, and I hope I don't drop any. Don't want to waste any. I really like this cast iron wok. And there we go. It's all fried up. All ready for the next step. So we're going back in the house using our cast iron skillet. And we're going to put a little bit of, that's peanut oil on. And now we're going to fry up our vegetables. And sorry for the camera angle because I am holding my camera, as you know. So that's Chinese lettuce there. That's Mizuna. That's onions, and that's a different kind of Chinese lettuce, the one our friend gave. It's kind of a reddish Chinese lettuce. So I'm going to start by putting in the onions. And they're not diced, they're sliced in thin, long strips. And this is pretty much the only food that we got from the market. So we're gonna cook up the onions first. Stir it in. We have an electric stove in our house. We used to have a propane stove in our tiny house. I really prefer the propane over the electric, but it all works. So it's looking pretty good right now because it's still going to do a little bit more cooking. So now I'm going to start putting in the vegetables. There, that's the Mizuna. I'm going to stir that in. And it's a mixture of flavors. The Mizuna is going to have a really a kind of tangy, little bit bitter taste. And then what I'm doing now is I'm kind of changing utensils here. Going to use my chopsticks. It's a little bit more delicate. And the Mizuna is a cabbage, so its leaves are a little bit more thick, so that's why I'm cooking that first. Then I'm putting in the Chinese lettuce, which are thinner, and that's the Chinese lettuce will cook really fast. So that will give you the best consistency, so they're all pretty much be about the same consistency, so one isn't more crunchy than the other. So usually I start with the for the leafy vegetables, I start with the cabbage before the lettuce. It's smelling pretty good. And as you notice, up to this point, there's no seasoning. So all there is peanut oil. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add the flavoring to it. So I'm going to my refrigerator, getting all the stuff I need out, and we're going to start with sesame oil. Now, the one thing about using sesame oil is you're just going to lightly coat it. It's because it's really strong. And then now I'm going to put some soy sauce or shoyu, just a little bit, and I'm going to stir it up. It smells so ono right now. That a light touch of sesame oil does a lot for the flavor, and you can see how the vegetables are really starting to cook here. You can see them there. It's all ready to go right now. Once you see the thing pretty much, I wouldn't say wilted, but cooked down so it looks like that, it's pretty much done. So normally what I've done here is I've turned off the heat. I should have removed it for the stove because I thought I could work a little bit faster, but I didn't. So there's no heat, and I'm going to add the last part with no heat, which is some sweet sour sauce. And that's just commercial that I bought from the market. Didn't make my own. And there it is. Perfect. So now we're done. And there's the fish, the Naenae skeleton, I guess you could say. And I'm going to put the vegetables on top of the body. This is all presentation. Looks pretty cool. And why the head's sticking up is, you just snap the head, and and don't remove it from the spine, and it'll just stay vertical like that. And the thing about cast iron is, like, I really should have removed it completely from the heat, but I don't really think it would have mattered because, the cast iron is retaining the heat. I could have taken all of the vegetables off a little bit quicker if I wasn't holding the camera, but you can see that looks pretty cool. It smells even better. It's getting these little onions out of there. It's always the problem. But I like it because to me that gives the best color palette right there with the onions on the top and the light orange from the sweet sour sauce. And now on top of that, we're going to place our fish nuggets. So they're the fish nuggets from the Naenae, and I'm going to place it on top of the vegetables. And I think it looks pretty cool. Check out the teeth on that guy. So that's what kind of chomps the vegetation and the algae on the coral. And there it is. There's our Naenae with sweet sour sauce and vegetables from our garden. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Gonna clean up the plate a little bit. And I think it came out really, really good. And it was so ono. I just ate it like that with no rice. That's all I needed. Well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And aloha.